We're finally here, the mid-season break for Death Battle's big legacy season. And while we've had matches and characters so far that I was more excited for, I don't think anyone can deny that this rematch or remaster or whatever of Link vs Cloud is by far the biggest fight of the season up until now. Well, I mean, we still don't know it's even Cloud, but I digress. And I should say right off the bat that this video won't be covering every Legend of Zelda and Final Fantasy episode of the show. The idea was only for me to cover the directly related episodes to whichever new ones came out. For matches like Heihachi vs Geese and Blake vs Mikasa, that meant the handful of other episodes to use their series. But for matches like Lex vs Doom, Shadow vs Ryuko, and now this, it means I'm only covering the episodes that these characters themselves specifically appeared in. So this video will just be covering the two Link vs Cloud episodes to see how big of an improvement was made between the remake and the original. I mean, the new one isn't out as I'm writing this segment, but I'd like to believe that with the SFM team at the helm, they won't make something that's somehow worse than the original. Though I guess I should get into the original now instead of stalling for any longer.
He is a puzzle solver.
I already watched Link vs Cloud semi-recently for my Season 1 ranking, which is fully written by the way. I'm hoping to get that done soon. It's a good episode, but it definitely shows its age, being the first 3D fight in the show's history and the second jankiest one they've ever done. Like, it's a solid enough test for 3D animation, but I really don't think that test should have been done in a match as big as this one. That's why so many people wanted to see it get remastered. Though, given that this is still Season 1, I'm completely willing to be more lenient on this episode in that regard. It's still enough to bother me, but not enough to sink the episode completely. And there are plenty of cool moments to make up for how stiff all the movements are. Link parrying the Omni Slash is mostly cool. I like when he rolls out of the way of the cross slash. This bit where he uses his smash up B has a really nice sense of speed. And I like the bit where Cloud knocks the Master Sword away. It's a cool scene where we get to see the difference in their fighting styles, with Cloud blindly swinging the Buster Sword with everything he has, while Link uses strategy to stun him and recover his weapon. Though it is really weird that Cloud gets stunned when they specifically bring up him being immune to status effects, including stuns in the analysis. Oh yeah, speaking of the analysis, I like it well enough. It has some solid jokes to balance out the bad ones, it's clear about what it is they're using, and it covers the characters in an entertaining way mostly. The only other part I can say I outright dislike about the fight is the death. I think Link parrying the Omni Slash is cool, but the camera movements make it more difficult to tell what's going on, Link getting that one hit in looks weird, and then the killing blow, which goes through Cloud's brain according to Boomstick, doesn't even leave a single mark. We do get the amazing Cloud Strife faceplant though, which is the perfect segue into just how many things in this episode I find ironically hilarious. The end clip for Cloud's analysis is atrocious. Link has Puzzle Solver listed on his feats page. The ad opens with
Hey Boomstick, do you like video games?
And then there's the absolute pinnacle of the episode, no, the whole season, the Next Time trailer for Batman vs Spider-Man. I'll play the whole thing right now and I will not edit any of this at all. It is a fucking magical experience that you just have to see for yourself.
Next time on Death.
Obviously it had to be cut for copyright issues, but that doesn't make it not funny that this is the state that it's in the episode. If that last tangent was any indicator, then yeah, I have very little to say about Link vs Cloud 1. It's good enough for the standards of Season 1, with very few things that stand out as bad, but very few that stands out as great either. It ranked way lower on my Season 1 list than I expected, but you'll just have to see how that went when that comes around. For now, I'll give this episode a 6 out of 10 and move on to the remake, which hopefully improved upon it in every way.
Let's mosey, asshole.
So I'm gonna jump the gun a bit and write this first bit before the episode is even out. The preview for this fight had me kinda worried. Not that it was bad, but it didn't look like it was going to be in the same league as the other 3 fights the SFM team had done. The motorcycle fight? Badass. I love the inclusion of the Final Fantasy VII HUD. This guy who might be Cloud riding up a wall and on the ceiling to attack Link from above was great. I love the Akira bike slide, which made Brandon actually scream when we watched the preview and call together. And quote-unquote Cloud attacking him out of it to stop Link from saving himself from falling was a neat way to use more of Cloud's materia and incorporate the environment in some way. And I like Cloud using the Magneto powers to catch Cloud's bike in midair. After that, Cloud dashing through the air with no shockwave effect looks weird. He can fly to an extent, but this looks like he's meant to be using his legs to propel himself forward through the air, but they forgot to add the shockwave to show that. Link using the ancient arrow looks genuinely awful. I love the blue glowy disintegration effect the arrows are meant to have, but this is just a big blue sphere. I like the return of the Cloud Strife faceplant as a callback to the first one, but we only needed 1, not 5. It goes on for way too long and overstays its welcome fast. Then Cloud just so happens to find the fusion sword. I've been told that this is a building with significance, but to an outsider it is not conveyed as anything other than just some random building. To my understanding, this thing's meant to be stored in his bike. You know, the one he was riding. You really couldn't have come up with a better way for him to get the sword than, nah, he just happens across it by sheer luck. I'm sure Nem's gonna bring up some of those possible ways since he's mentioned them in my DMs a few times. I'm not the Final Fantasy guy, so I don't really have anything extra to add there. Link flying in front of the camera also looks really dumb. It's hard to even tell that he's gliding. My friends thought he was running with a bomb at first. The bike fight also isn't clear of issues as much as I enjoyed it. The sound effects for the swords clashing are weak, there's no setup, and Cloud's hand when he's using the lightning material looks like he's wearing a glove made of piss. And in general, I'm not a fan of how the models look. I can't tell if it's the lighting or textures, but the colours are all so flat. And to repurpose a quote from my good friend Ducko into talking about lighting and textures, flat bad. I was also hoping they'd use Cloud's Advent Children model, but oh well. I wanted to believe that this was not an indicator of how the full episode was going to be. With how hyped I was for the match and the return of the SFM team, as well as the debut of a new software, I didn't want this to be a case of, yeah, I like it and that's about it. I wanted to believe that it would pull a Hulk vs Broly and pick up after the preview. Hell, I wanted to believe that the preview was unfinished animation, which would explain the weird lack of effects, weird shading on the models, and just other weird parts of the animation that seemed like mistakes. But I'd also learned from previous previews to not hold my breath there. I've tried to rationalize a lot of previews like that this season, and while they did get fixed in some cases like with Steven vs Star, in some cases like with Blake vs Mikasa's framerate and the Doctor Doom voice, they just didn't. But this isn't just a review of the preview. What did I think of the episode beyond that? Well, this is about where the part I wrote before the episode came out ends. Did the episode end up being yet another case of me misdirecting everyone on what I thought of the episode at the start? Well, I guess we'll both find out as soon as this sentence ends. Getting into the full episode now, I still have most of my issues with the first bit of the fight, though they have added voice clips which definitely helped. The very next shot is Link going around and smashing all the pottery in the church, and I fucking love it. Some people think it goes on for too long like the bit with the cliff. I think it's fine. I do think that it's weird that Cloud has this "excuse me" line off screen and we don't get a reaction shot. But the initial joke is still funny, and I like Cloud trying to stop this pot from getting shattered while he's fighting. The next bit of sword fighting is solid, and I like the shot of them both freezing each other in time. It's a cool shot, and it's another thing I just find funny. We get Cloud disarming Link in a scene that's way better than the one in the original, and then Link pulls out the 4 swords, which I thought was really cool. I like seeing fights where one guy has to take out a whole group, and it was great seeing Cloud dual wielding against 4 Links at once. Each Link also has a different personality and fighting style, which I really appreciated. The original focuses on swordplay, Red focuses on bombs like that one kid from that one gacha game I don't play, Green prefers to run to the stage and spam arrows every nanosecond, and Thanos Link turns into a fairy so he can just annoy Cloud. Once again, I just found it funny. I didn't really expect this fight to have as many jokes as I ended up liking. This whole segment of the fight is great. The choreography is really well done, and I like that everything each of the Links do here is to directly set up one of the others for a team combo. And going back to each of them having a different personality, it's not just reflected in their fighting style. Every Link reacts to what Cloud does in a different way. It's some nice attention to detail. Cloud decides to reenact the Mega Man Battle Royale, and fair enough, that episode's great. But out of all the Links that could have survived, why did it have to be the one that did the fucking DreamWorks face? And after that we get a complete change in tone. Link goes intangible and we get this pause in the track to give Link time to play the ocarina, and it fits so well. I genuinely thought it was part of the track at first. Oh, and since I don't know when else I'm going to get to talk about it, Final Breath is a really good track, it's just not one of my favourites. Back to the scene at hand, the ocarina causes it to rain, which sets the atmosphere beautifully for the rest of the fight. Link throws off the cloak in an admittedly kind of janky looking shot, but the bit after with the lightning makes me quickly forget about that. Link sends out a big energy attack which Cloud uses for himself, and Link dies. Yeah, Cloud just up and kills him here and he has to get revived. Following Link's temporary death, Cloud heals up and we get the Fierce Deity transformation. I don't think it's quite as good as Ganon's transformation against Dracula, but that's such a big hurdle to jump and I don't expect many episodes to surpass that moment. That said, Link's transformation comes absurdly close. The shot of him throwing away the rubble, the dark silhouette contrasted by the purple aura and the glowing white eyes, Cloud nonchalantly dodging the rock sent his way, and the 10-foot tall Link towering over Cloud. This entire sequence is just fucking incredible. Very few death battle episodes are able to not only give me chills, but do it twice in quick succession. Unfortunately, what follows isn't quite as incredible. By no means is Cloud vs Fierce Deity Link bad, but it is a case of a character activating their super form and then getting bodied instantly worse than in their base, which is a shame. It never really does anything to sell me on how much of a threat Link's ultimate form poses. Plus, this has some of the more noticeable jank of the fight. Things pick back up pretty quickly though when Cloud makes the big fuck off explosion that sends Link blasting off again. We get a great line from the guy that could or could not be Cloud, which is apparently a reference that Brandon really wanted, and he popped off when he heard it. Man, if I had a nickel for every time Brandon wanted this absurdly specific reference in Link vs Cloud 2 and got it, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right? And then the finisher, Omnislash version 5. Hot take, but I like this way better than the original. Initially I wasn't into the jank, but then I realised it was intentional since that's exactly how attacks play out in Final Fantasy. I love Cloud breaking the Triforce and splitting Link in half, causing his corpse to turn red with the numbers over it. But the real highlight is this shot here of Cloud in front of the moon. Fucking spectacular. I genuinely cannot decide if this is the episode's Season 8 shot or if that goes to the Fierce Deity transformation. Fuck it, both of them are. I don't really have as much to say on the analysis as my friends who actually have stakes in these series. Nem is probably going to deconstruct his issues with the analysis in his video, so go check that out if for some reason you haven't already. But I enjoyed it well enough. I wish they covered Link's story a bit better and it could have served to be longer, but I had a good time with it, and it's always nice to see Dummy. He's even more expressive than usual, I like that. Boomstick also has this bit in the conclusion where he plays the air drums, which I thought was a nice visual gag. That's about all I have to say. So it goes without saying my opinion on Link vs Cloud drastically picked up from the preview. The preview stuff was mediocre, the bit up until the 4 swords was solid, and almost everything after that was incredible. So how would I rate it? Probably an 8 out of 10. An episode this good was exactly what I needed as a pick-me-up on the day it came out. It is unfortunately my least favourite of this team's 4 episodes, but considering that Ganon vs Drac, Obi-Wan vs Kakashi and Yoda vs Mickey were batting consistent 10 out of 10s across the board, not being on their level in my eyes is hardly a bad thing. If I was a Zelda or Final Fantasy fan, I'd probably get more out of it. I mean, this was Brandon's dream match and he now has it as his #1 favourite of all time. So even though this isn't my own favourite, I'm still happy that he and a bunch of my other friends were able to like it as much as they did. Now, if there's anything I want you to take away from this review now that I've said my piece on the episode, it's that we still cannot get ahead of ourselves. We still do not know if it's even Cloud. Like, why are you guys assuming it's Cloud? For all we know, this is someone else entirely. Don't jump to conclusions or you'll just be left disappointed. I'm not saying it definitely isn't Cloud, I mean it still could be, but that's still speculation as of right now. We gotta give it more time before we can say with complete certainty. I think this has served as a great way to close off the first half of Season 8. It's been really good so far. Let's just hope the latter half improves on it. Speaking of which, they revealed a character from the next episode just like they did with Beerus last year. So let's hope that this is a character that will get people excited and really spark up a lot of discussion.
Come on, hit me with a disappointment. Am I going to make a prediction video on who this person is going to fight?
No, it's obvious.
Who's... Well, BBX. I just instinctively went to close that tab and this... You are fucking kidding me.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right. God fucking damn it. At this point, you probably know how I feel about Marvel and DC on Death Battle already. There's really no point in complaining about it. We just gotta deal with Batman episode number 4 being up next for 3 months. As good as this season has been, and as solid as the matches have been, I am really not a fan of how a lot of the history with these matches comes down to the characters being returners. I'm not excited for the episodes, but again, I'm not going to count it out completely. Season 7 showed me that my prior interest for a matchup does not impact my enjoyment enough to sway me from liking or disliking it. Zuko vs Todoroki was one of my dream matches, and I was actively dreading Red Hood vs Winter Soldier, and look how both of those turned out. I just hope we have another Bucky vs Jason on our hands rather than another Batgirl vs Spider-Gwen. Anyway, now it's time for the reaction highlights. Once again, I was at work, so I'm not in this one, but my friends still watch it together and I have the highlights from that. So hopefully you enjoyed those. I still don't know how to end videos. Go watch Nem's one as well. Alright, see ya.
I'm not sure if it's Cloud yet. It could be anybody.
Oh, wait, 4'10"? He's short.
What?
He said he was
Oh,
4'10".
4'10", yeah.
He's short.
Ooh, rolling through lava.
I like how
Oh, it's back! It's back! Finally! The best feed in the series.
I think Cloud's fucked you guys.
Nick with the god tier masking. I see that shit.
There you go,
Nick with
Max.
the good ass masking.
There he is!
Planet Gaia, run by the Shinra conglomerate. One young
I
man
stand
wanted
Nick.
to
He literally locked himself in a fucking library for 7 days. It turned crazy.
This remake is a very fun game to play, even though I got nothing of the story basically.
And lunge around. Yeah. Kept as a certain ribbon which defends him
Damn,
from
this
the
editing is so nice.
Okay, no more microwave, good.
They're just trying to be like, oh, supernova. Anyway.
Wow, they actually treated him like a damn character. Good job, DJ. What?
They used that fucking advertisement.
I'm
Yeah.
so happy.
Dude, this is great.
So for the analysis was pretty alright, pretty good.
Oh, they added voices.
Go
Food
get him,
while
Link.
watching this too.
Cloud, how did you not know there was a massive drop off here? You were just.
He did the
right.
thing. He did what?
Oh, the fusion sword in a random place. Oh, 0 out of 10. Oh, I hate it. I hate this episode. Oh.
Oh, they both did it. Yeah.
Yo, that was awesome.
They are.
Yo, he's that guy from Ruby now.
He's gonna use the fusion sword's forms to fight them all.
Dude, get a good look at it.
Now he's a fan. Hey, listen.
The slur
Oh
link.
shit.
Yo!
That face.
Oh.
Oh, goodbye, other Link.
This is amazing.
Yeah, this is using a lot of their
Yo!
way.
That's the fucking ocarina.
This is badass.
Hey,
Oh, he's making a fucking electrocute now.
The Skyward Strike.
Oh shit.
Is it Fierce Deity time? Yo!
more
Oh shit.
like slightly angry dog.
I didn't realize how big he'd be in comparison. This looks so pretty. That's music too.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Hey.
Oh my god. No, Link!
Yo!
Hey.
Oh my god.
Nothing to it.
Link's, like, he lost, but Link stole the show there. Massive DJW.
I think this might be my second favorite of the season. I think I'll put it over Yoda versus
This is my favorite, 100%.
Those people who think the Triforce beats everything are gonna be mad though.
The part where they both freeze time, that was great. I was
I
like,
love
what?
time.
Yep.
Okay, what's gonna be next?
Nothing, probably, you'll see. Yeah.
All new DBX.
Ness vs. Sans! Wait, what?
What?
Oh,
Batman?
Hellbat Batman? Okay. I don't care.